But we begin at 11 tonight with breaking news. Iran begins its retaliation against the United States. The Pentagon confirming Iran has fired more than a dozen ballistic missiles at 2 or more bases in Iraq. I'm Mike Montecalvo.
And I'm Shannon Heggie. We first told you about the attack on Eyewitness News at 6:30 over on Fox Providence. It comes after President Trump again warned Iran they would be hit hard if they struck American targets. Eyewitness News reporter Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill, where the administration began briefing lawmakers before this latest escalation.
Iran claimed responsibility for an attack on U.S. targets in Iraq after threatening retaliation for the killing of its top general last week. Tuesday night, Iranian state television aired this video of what it said were missiles being fired.
It's a show of use of force that we will go toe-to-toe, tit for tat with you.
The Pentagon confirms more than a dozen ballistic missiles were launched from inside Iran against U.S. and coalition forces in Iraq. One target was in Erbil in northern Iraq.
We heard 2 large explosions here. Shortly after those explosions, we also saw helicopters in the air, 2 buzzing Erbil.
The other target was the Al-Assad Air Base, about 100 miles northwest of Baghdad. It's home to U.S. service personnel. President Trump made a surprise visit to the base in December of 2018, and Vice President Mike Pence made an appearance there this past November. Prior to the attack, President Trump repeated a dire warning to the regime.
If Iran does anything that they shouldn't be doing, they're going to be suffering the consequences, and very strongly.
The vice president called top congressional leaders to inform them of the attacks. They had just been briefed in person about the intelligence leading up to the killing of Iran's top general.
Lawmakers reacting to the attacks have questions.
Right now, we're in a defensive posture. What we don't know if this is the first of more than one wave.
I am questioning whether or not the Trump administration has a coherent strategy for what to do next.
Late Tuesday, President Trump met with his top advisors at the White House. He tweeted, "Assessment of casualties and damages taking place now. So far, so good." The president says he'll make a statement Wednesday morning.
And Iran's foreign minister tweeted the action was taken in self-defense for the killing of its citizens and senior officials. He said the regime doesn't want escalation or war, but will defend itself against aggression.
And new tonight, the FAA has issued flight restrictions banning all U.S. planes from flying over Iraq and Iran, as well as the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman.
And members of the Rhode Island congressional delegation are also responding to this attack. Eyewitness News reporter Caroline Goggin joins us live in studio with what they're saying. Caroline?
Well, Shannon and Mike, I spoke with Senator Reid shortly after the news broke tonight. He tells me he got a call from the Secretary of Defense around 6:30 this evening, indicating the Iranians had fired missiles from Iran, hitting the Al-Assad Air Base and Erbil. Tonight, Senator Reid says they're still assessing the casualties and the damages to the facilities.
He's been to Iraq more than 20 times and to both Al-Assad Air Base and Erbil.
Al-Assad is a very, very big base in the middle of a desert, essentially. There's nothing much around it. It is a major military base. Erbil is our facility, our camp, is on the outskirts of a major city in Kurdistan.
Senator Jack Reed says he was just at the Al-Assad base in 2017, calling it a training center with NATO and U.S. personnel. He calls Tuesday night's missile strikes a deliberate attack, adding the Iranian government had indicated it intended to take direct military action following the targeted killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani.
This was shocking, but no surprise. They did exactly what they said they were going to do, based upon their reaction to the killing of Soleimani.
So what comes next? Senator Reid, a ranking member on the Armed Services Committee, said the focus right now should be what's happening on the ground in Iraq. He says that will have a significant influence on what direction the U.S. will take.
The president of the administration has to be very conscious of avoiding an escalatory spiral where we respond, the Iranians respond, and before you know it, we're in all-out open warfare with the Iranians, which will be devastating not only to the region, but also to the many of our personnel that are there.
And tonight we're also hearing from other members of the Rhode Island delegation. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse sending over a statement in the last hour saying in part, quote, "I urge the president and his advisors to choose a course of action that serves America's interests, safeguards American lives, and reduces the risk of further conflict." Rhode Island Congressman Jim Langevin responding to tonight's news in a tweet saying, quote, "I am praying for the safety and well-being of Americans and allies in Iraq and closely monitoring the situation." Congressman David Cicilline also tweeting tonight, quote, "May God bless and keep our brave men and women who are serving in the Middle East tonight." And just in tonight at 11 o'clock, we are learning of reports of a plane crash near the Iranian capital. 180 passengers were on board. We're going to have the latest on that crash starting on Eyewitness News this morning. That's at 4:30 a.m. And of course, as we previously mentioned tonight, President Donald Trump will be making a statement tomorrow morning as well. I'm Caroline Goggin, Eyewitness News.